I'll have you continue on page 27.
Continuing Jesse to Scott. I get it, but didn't do anything, and I'm so tired of everyone blaming me for everything. I didn't say anything, and then you bash me about calling your baby mama's kids, and when I haven't been. I am just trying to hold it all together, because this is probably the worst day I ever just thought things were good, not together. But good, and they went to shit over one night in the fucking bar again. I'm just tired of you yelling at me when I didn't do it, and you made me feel like the idiot again for nothing. Money's in your grill. Enjoy your night. Maybe you should have cooled off before blowing up on my without thinking about TI. And then I'm not out to be the bad guy or bash the one I love. I tried too hard that night, just not to piss you off. I try to do everything so you don't hate me, and it's always something. Never mind, I'm leaving. I'm not putting money. I'm not putting money there because Dano's here again for nothing. Money's in your grill. Enjoy your night. Jesse continuing to Scott. You begged me to keep you from the bar last weekend, and see what happens. I didn't even want to go, but I wanted to see you. I was looking for to just chilling, going to Bella's game, and seeing Dom tonight. And now they all just think Jess fucked up again. Crazy bitch. Excuse me. Scott to Jesse. I didn't say anything to my family. Shut up. Stop with your shit again and again. Get away from my fucking house! Exclamation points. Jesse to Scott. I already left 5 minutes ago. Why bother cool off? Do whatever you need. Clearly I need to get the fuck away from you.
What day are we on, Detective Hoppy?
This is now May 15th.
So a few days after the conversation you just read?
That's correct.
Okay.
Scott to Jesse. At home. Jesse to Scott. Yeah, I'm still sitting in my work clothes. Was going to go after the doc, but wasn't up for it. Okay, good talk, LOL. Scott to Jesse. You're so funny. Jesse to Scott. Well, you never say anything. Scott to Jesse. Not much to say. Jesse to Scott. I guess so. Say anything, keep my company for a little with small talk. Scott to Jesse. What's up with Lynn? Jesse to Scott. Nothing new. I'm going to stop by her in a little, then go stay at her place tonight with the cats. Scott to Jesse. What's wrong with her? Jesse to Scott. I think she's just tired of being sick. She overdosed on pills. Scott to Jesse. What kind? On purpose? Jesse to Scott. A bunch, and I really don't know. She's in a coma. They don't think she will wake up. Scott to Jesse. Are you serious? I mean, come on. What kind of pills? That doesn't sound right. Jesse to Scott. She takes a ton of pills. I don't even know half. You think I'm joking? It is serious. Scott to Jesse. Does she have family? Jesse to Scott. And she drinks with them. She's been sick. She's been so sick for a while, and she put on 50 pounds in a month, and she doesn't eat because she just gets sick. She has no family. She was adopted. Her parents both died in the last few years. It's just mom and I is all she has, and like 2 other friends. Scott to Jesse. Well, who is responsible for her? Like power of attorney. Jesse to Scott. Me. Scott to Jesse. Like legally? Written somewhere? Jesse to Scott. Don't you ever listen to me? I tell you this stuff all the time. I've been to the bank and attorney with her many times. It was mom. Then when I got out, she changed it to me because mom can't handle anything. She has no family whatsoever left. That's why she always made sure I knew everything. Scott to Jesse. Well, I heard you before, but sometimes I don't know. Just kind of weird. Jesse to Scott. What's weird? She used to be mom's neighbor in those apartments I grew up with her mom. I grew up with her mom and her were best friends. Her dad died and she bought the condo. She likes my aunt, but not related. It's a little overwhelming, but I try not to think about any of it. Docs get shit wrong all the time, and she might be wake up, you know. I don't know. Mom thinks it's probably better. She said she wouldn't want to live being sick all the time. I don't know. I couldn't imagine growing old with no family, nobody. Are you done now? Scott to Jesse, I guess. Sorry, geez. Jesse to Scott, you didn't say anything else, so I don't know. Jesse to Scott, I didn't mean like that, silly. Jesse to Scott, so what else? Scott to Jesse, nothing, I guess. Picking up Bella soon. Jesse to Scott, okay, have a good night. If you get bored later, I'll be cat sitting, so if you want to message me. Scott to Jesse, more cats. Jesse to Scott, LOL, she has 2. She has strict instructions, so if she doesn't wake up, they get put down. They are older and picky. She knew we couldn't take them with ours. And that's what she wanted. They are to be creamed and put with her ashes. But for now, I'm just keeping an eye on them. Scott to Jesse, how's Lynn? Same. The docs are talking about trying something tomorrow to see if there's any response and check her brain activity. Too many big words, I don't know. So I said, talk to me so I know what you're saying. How's Bella? Scott to Jesse, fine. I dropped her off at Hale for a track meet with her friends. Jesse to Scott, oh my God, now track. I don't know how that girl does it all. It's too much. Scott to Jesse, no, she's just watching. Jesse to Scott, oh, so you just sitting at home then? Scott to Jesse, yeah, laundry, dishes, stuff.
What day are we on?
May 16th, 2018. Scott to Jesse, Jesus, are you getting paid? Jesse to Scott, yeah, thank God. Scott to Jesse, well, that's good. Let me get it, LOL, JK. No, hun. Jesse to Scott, no, hun. No, but you should get your overall health checked out. Plus, it's important. Okay, get back to work, just checking on you. Scott to Jesse, how's Lynn? Jesse to Scott, same. They said she had a rough night, so they aren't going to try what they were going to do today. Maybe tomorrow. Scott to Jesse, what is going to happen? Jesse to Scott, I don't know. I really don't. Not looking good though. Totally random. I was gonna ask yesterday and forgot. What's the deal with Jackie and McGuanago? Scott to Jesse, who knows?
Detective, was Lynn Hernan ever in a coma at Freighter Hospital?
No, she was not.
Through your investigation, did you become aware whether after the conversation that you just read, Scott Craig and Jesse Krzyzewski stopped seeing each other?
No, we were not aware of that.
Okay. In fact, did your investigation reveal they stayed together after this discussion?
Yes.
Do you know how Scott Craig found out that Lynn Hernan did not die at Freighter?
From us, the detectives.
Now, Detective, I'm going to move forward to Exhibit 204. Did you speak with Ms. Krzyzewski again on July 11th of 2019?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Again, she reached out and asked to speak with us.
Okay. Did you accommodate that request?
Yes, we did.
Can you see 204 before you?
Yes.
And you recognize it?
Yes.
What is it?
It is portions of the interview conducted on July 11th, 2019 with Ms. Krzyzewski.
Are they fair and accurate portions of the interview?
Yes, they are.
I've moved Exhibit 204 into evidence. Ask for permission to publish.
No objection.
Exhibit 204 is received, permission to publish granted.
And Detective Happy on slide 1. Is there some information there in terms of the video to follow?
Yes.
And what is that?
Again, it's indicates this is a meeting or an interview I conducted on July 11th, 2019 between myself and Ms. Krzyzewski.
Is Detective Cole in this interview?
He is.
Sorry, if we can go to slide 2. All right. And this begins at 9 minutes 20 seconds.
That's correct.
All right, and we can play from here.
When I left, I did use another card too.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that's on mine. I have multiple, but I thought you guys can check that too, I'm sure. So, because I know for sure I went shopping. I'm positive because I brought home groceries.
And when you say card, you're talking about the shopper's card, right?
I used Pick and Save card. I used her, like the state food card, whatever, because she always would tell me, oh, I'm not using it, make sure you take it. And then my card.
Okay. When I say the Pick and Save card,
Mm-hmm.
like the Savers card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And use yours or hers, you think?
Mine.
Okay, and is that under your phone number or?
Under mine.
Okay. And then you said you went.
Because I usually punch in the number, I don't even scan the card.
Okay. And then you went to Scott's house.
Yes. I mean, I believe I went to Walmart and maybe Woodman's. I know I stopped at a few places, but I know for sure Pick and Save, and I want to say, I think Walmart.
When we say Woodman's, which
maybe.
Woodman's would you
It would
go
be
to?
the one in Franklin, that's the one I always go to. Or Oak Creek, actually, sorry.
Oak Creek.
Yep.
Then you went to Scott's house.
Yep.
And you talked for a while. You said.
Unloaded stuff and talked to.
And then you drove to Lynn's.
Yep.
And you popped the trunk.
Yep.
If I'm wrong, I gotta say you're wrong.
Oh, I will.
And your key, was the door locked or unlocked?
And her door is always locked.
So you unlocked it?
Yep.
And you entered?
Mm-hmm.
And tell me again what you find.
First I said, well, hi, Lynn, and she was sleeping, or so I thought she was sleeping like she usually is when I come in. Now I say hi. Well, I did a double take because I was actually turning around to go to the trunk. And I did a double take because I realized, A, she didn't answer me, and I didn't hear her heavy snoring like I normally hear. So I literally turned back around, and I went, well, that seems odd. So I walked up to her right away, and I'm like, Lynn, just talking to her, and then I'm like, I don't see her, like, I don't hear her snoring, I don't see a movement whatsoever. And that's when, right away, I checked just to see if I felt any breathing, and I called 911 immediately.
Okay. And then 911 tells you to do some,
Yep.
check the pulse.
Check the pulse, and then they wanted me to lie her on her back, and I said, I can't. She's in the chair, there's no way I can move her.
Oh.
So they said, lay it back as far as you can.
And then the troops come.
Mm-hmm. I stood outside from there. I didn't want to be inside. I literally, when I finished doing what they told me to do, I walked right outside and just stood there.
And was Jean around at the time when you're outside?
She was next door with a neighbor. I believe she always used to give treats to the neighbor's dogs. And I believe she was with a neighbor and a dog. I don't know what neighbor, but they always walked by.
But you specifically remember seeing Jean.
Yes.
And you know Jean real well because Jean's
Yes.
helped you over the years.
Mm-hmm. She just helped me a day or two prior pick her up off the floor.
Did she have like a button or something, or she would just call you?
Who?
Like,
Lynn?
Lynn.
No, she
Like
would call.
if she fell,
Nope, she would call.
what if she never phone? She'd have to call to get the phone, or
She literally had the phone like on her at all times or right next to her where she could reach it.
what kind of phone did she have?
Just a cordless.
Of course, so it's not even a cell phone.
Oh, she had one, but that one she wasn't using for.
So she used
she
like a
wasn't using it for
landline.
while. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It was a cordless.
So Jean was there, you said, the day before, you said?
It was the day before. It was either the day before or 2 days before. I don't remember. She fell. I was out with Scott, and that was one of the times that I had to leave and go. And then Jean helped me because I couldn't. I had to find help.
Why wouldn't you take Scott to help you?
I've never asked him to help me. He doesn't know Lynn. Lynn never wanted to see him like that.
Oh, I know, but that dude's really nice when you got to pick someone up.
He is very nice.
And he's a nice
But-
guy. I mean, basically.
I totally understand, but Gene's helped me about 3 times, and I've never taken him. And he was also out.
Did you
so.
call Jean first?
Nope, I waited until I got there. Or I think. I might have called her, I don't know. Sometimes I'd call her and say, can you at least go over and sit with her or whatever until I get there. And I mean, I race out there. I literally fly out there, so.
You said you and Scott were out together, or
Yeah.
were you out separately?
We were out together.
And when you say out, I see him, when I say we're going out,
Mm-hmm.
you're out at a bar?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go out together in the same car?
I don't know for sure.
I just find it odd
I
You
don't.
don't take the guy
No,
who's
I've
been
never.
3.5
But
years.
he's never met her, and that was her. That was her biggest thing.
But
Is
if you
I
get
don't
there,
want.
can you get her off the floor by yourself?
Well, with Gene, we always could.
Well, what if Gene's not available?
I've never had a problem. So.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Well,
asking.
worst case scenario, I'd call an ambulance because that's what we did once before.
Because, my mom's in assisted living, and if she goes down, I have people there to help.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would bring my wife with me.
I guess
And
I
the
was
kids.
just used to it because I've done it numerous times. Numerous.
Do you remember which bar you were at when she called?
I would have had to be in the usual Sales Palace. It's right down the road from my house.
That sounds so established.
We know the owner. That used to be the bouncer at Scotty's owns the bar, him and his wife.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Because you were a Scotty's girl. And then you give the deputies your statement. There's no other civilians there, though, right? It's just.
Well, I mean, now all her neighbors are outside.
No one
asking
goes
her.
inside.
No.
The deputies
Nobody
do a
has
pretty
walked
good job.
inside. I walked out while I was still on the phone with 911. I walked
Okay.
out because I couldn't. I was just in shock. I couldn't even sit there.
But you remember pretty clearly what she looks like.
Yeah.
Can you
I
describe
can't get that image out of my head.
Can you describe it to me again?
I mean, she's sitting in the chair. That's how she always was. But she wasn't obviously looking at me or talking to me, and she was just sitting there. And when I went to touch her, the way her body just shifted, it was just one of those feelings. I can't explain it. I've never touched anybody in Hallie before because I've never seen anybody dead before in my whole life. Or at least I can think. I mean, besides going to a funeral.
Yeah, I got you.
It's like, I mean, and that's the hardest thing for me is because I've seen her a million different ways, and to see that, I mean, that image, I mean, I told the guy on the phone, I'm like, I can't sit in here, I had to go outside. Like, I was like sick to my stomach just seeing it, because it's something that you can't get out.
And again, we talked a little bit earlier, but I've seen lots of dead bodies, so I'm pretty used to it. When you see her, I mean, what is she wearing? Do you remember?
I know she had a shirt on. I know she had no pants on. She was sitting on, her pee pad thing that we kept down. And she probably had her blanket on her because she always she would go through hot and cold, so.
Uh-huh. And tell me about the spoon and the pills.
Well, when I left the house, that spoon and that, the plate were always on her side, like one of the tables, either or. Because I shouldn't say table. She had a table on one side and her speakers on the other side. That's where her pills were. That's where normally she had a thing of eye drops right there. And those were the ones she put in her eyes. That was where usually her water was, her phone, and I don't know if I said medication, but any of her medications. That's where, on both sides of her. And we always had a plate and a spoon next to her. And when I left, there was like 4 or 5 pills, whatever pills she didn't take for the day, were sitting on top of it, and they were whole. And that's how I left her.
And then you find her, and where's the plate now?
I thought it was on that side table still, but the pills were crushed.
Okay. Anything else about her that you remember?
No.
I mean, you just said that you'll never forget that image, and I get it. Because
it just, I really can't say anything else differently, than just seeing her not, the biggest thing for me is I watched her body because I was so used to seeing, she was a very deep, heavy breather, and I was so used to always seeing, you could literally see her moving, the breathing, and I couldn't see anything. It was just, and when he had me touch her, that really did it for me, because it was just that little, like I moved, and the way her body just moved over, there was no, it like gave, I don't know how else to explain it, but.
Describe her face to me. You remember what her face looks like?
Just stat, there was no movement to it. I don't believe her eyes were open. I guess I wasn't staring at it, but just there. I know she had a hair clip in that she had in for days. Yeah, I don't. I think her mouth might have been open a little bit. But that's all I can remember.
Yeah, I can't put the image in your head, you know what I mean?
No, I know.
Our brains are wired a little differently because we're messed up, that we see things and we cue on certain details and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? It's actually kind of a curse after a while.
I could see that.
But again, this is your good friend that you love, that you've been taking care of for months and months and months at least, right?
Yeah.
Would you say more than a year?
Well, taken care of, no. I would say as far as like the last 4, 5, 6 months. I mean, going out there and spending time with her, yeah. I've been doing that since I've been out, so.
And the last couple of years, let's say the last couple of years prior to her death, at the beginning of that time period, she's not as sick as she is at the end, correct?
She had a lot of stomach issues, but not the same, no. Not
Because she could move and walk.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning,
Yep.
when we were going to visit
Yep.
her.
I mean, she'd go to the store, but she'd still use like the cart, to walk around or stuff like that. I mean, she wasn't the best, but she was way better.
The cart or the little trolley, electric trolley thing?
No, the actual like shopping cart.
Okay. And eventually she got to the point where she didn't drive and she couldn't check. And that's more like the last 6 months or 9 months?
I would say when she stopped driving would probably be maybe 4 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you really are kind of
Yeah.
assisting her with day-to-day operations. Would you say at least a couple hours a day?
Usually, yeah.
Every day?
Yep. One of the things I forgot, on top of taking care of her, I was taking care of her cats too, because they have the litter box, the food, all that. A lot of times she could feed them, but going to the room to do the litter box was just too much work for her. I did think of that last night.
How many cats does she have?
She had 2. My mom has one of them. We had put the other. Well, we had both for a while. But
Yeah.
She put the other one down.
Okay.
I was sick.
And you never miss a day?
Once in a while, I would.
So very rarely.
Rare, yeah.
She would
I mean,
say-
like when we had softball or stuff going on, she knew. A few times I asked Jean to check in on her if it was bad. I mean, we weren't doing major things towards the end.
Did you take any major trips or you're off for a week?
No. I think the most I'd be gone for would be 4 days.
And then Jean would come take care of her?
She would check in if she needed, or Lynn would call her if need be, but that would be it.
Because would you say the last month you're there every day?
Pretty much. But I mean, there would still be like a day I wouldn't go. If I was there late the night before and I talked to her and she was, didn't need anything or was okay for the day. So mostly yes, but once in a blue moon, no.
I mean, I don't know. The reason I asked
It wore on me. So I mean, some days,
the only time I've
I'd
ever
go,
seen her, she's not looking the best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it looks like the kind of person that would need help every day.
She really didn't though until, like physically every day until right before the hospital and then coming home.
And her last
Because she could still make it around. Honestly, the walker, the potty thing, and what else did we get her? All those things, we got her literally like probably 3 days before she went to the hospital.
Okay.
So, I mean, she would still get up and go to the
Now, when you say
bathroom.
hospital, I mean her last trip.
Yes,
to
the last
Waukesha.
one. But, like, the main reason I got it is because she was still sleeping in her bed up until right before the hospital, too. And, like I was telling him, she had an accident. She couldn't get out of bed quick enough or whatever the case was. Her bed was very high. She shit the whole room. So while she was in the hospital, I was there shampooing her whole carpeting.
Sure.
So, in her bed.
Prior to the last day at Waukesha,
Mm-hmm.
did she ever go to the hospital? Did you know prior to that?
Yeah.
When was that? Approximately 6 months, 3 months?
She went 2 or 3 times in the last 2 months before.
Okay.
And I want to say 2 were ambulance.
Oh, it's up the hill?
Yes. Yep.
I see the
That's
hill.
where they would only take her.
Waukesha.
That's the only place they would take her to.
She never been afraid of her?
So that's where she wanted to go. Very badly.
But she was never there.
I think she's been there, but for doctors.
Talking the last,
Yeah.
when you were kind of involved here,
Yeah.
you're always going to Waukesha.
Yeah.
Something that's bothering me a lot, because again, I tend to think that if you're involved in this, it's because she wanted your help. But I can't get past this, because Scott's real clear that he thought she was in a coma at Freighter.
She wasn't at Freighter.
So
She never went there. That's where she always wanted to go. And the last time I took her to the hospital, I begged her to go there.
and he's
and she
real
wouldn't
clear
go.
that you're telling him you're going to meet her at you're going to see her at the hospital.
I know that.
Which you're with this guy for 3.5 years. Either he's the stupidest guy I've ever met, or you're lying to him.
I did lie to him. I did.
Why?
because she didn't want anybody knowing she was in the hospital or at home sick, except mom.
But she never even met this fucking
She never
guy.
met him. That was her biggest thing. She
So-
thought, though.
So you
like,
get
when
more
she
points
fell,
to lie
I'm
to
being
your
very honest.
boyfriend?
It was.
A guy, she never
Trust
got.
me, I'm looking at it now going, I should never lie to him because I ruined everything.
He's crushed.
I know.
And it makes you
completely
look
know.
real guilty.
I understand that part, but I
And
honestly
I can't get past it in my brain
I
because
get
I'm
that.
the one that just kind of likes you. And
I
it's
completely
like,
get it.
and he seems like, I'd like to hang out with him. That's how nice he is.
She wanted Frida more than anything. That's where I wanted to take her to the last
But she's
time.
not there. You're telling him that's where she's at, in a coma, which is a double lie.
I don't remember saying coma. I always said she was in and out of it because she was at home, and that was the truth. She was in and out of it all the time. But I did tell him Frida, and I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm telling you, I want to tell you everything I possibly can at this point.
Well, we need to get there because
Yeah.
you are involved in this. And I'm trying to put you in the best light to the court
I get it.
that this didn't happen for money. This happened for love.
It didn't happen for money. I'm completely honest, and I will tell you.
And I know you're sorry about what happened to her. You told me that yesterday.
I'm more than sorry than what happened to her. Because when
And it's chewing you up inside. I know this because even yesterday
I
when
broke down
we
yesterday.
talked about the Visine, I could see just kind of ripped out of your body.
I left here last night, and I told him, or one of you, I slept for a little bit. Not the best. I slept good because just getting it out, it's been wearing and tearing at me. I mean, more than you know. And I think the biggest part for me is that's why I was getting frustrated when they kept saying she had to have it that day. What she had that day, I didn't know, and I'm serious. I said she did. One time, the whole time I've known her, she drank one bottle in front of me. Just one time. One bottle. And she never did that afterward. I was so upset and hurt by it because I didn't want her to do this. I didn't think it was the best way to go. She was trying everything. She threw up
How did she
pills,
find
trying
out
pills.
about this?
She researched it. She
How?
researched numerous things
How?
on my phone. When I'd be out there, she looked up the gun.
You know how that's going to look for you, right?
I understand.
I mean,
that.
everything.
She doesn't have
She
access
can't
to
defend
the
herself.
internet.
She can't
doesn't have-
talk from the grave, and it's always on your phone, your internet, your this, with permission,
But
blah, blah,
she
blah.
couldn't-
Ordering a gun. I mean, disposing of the gun is you.
I did that for a reason because I watched her hold it to her head.
And what did you do with the gun?
I took it apart and threw it in the garbage.
Do you have ammunition in it?
Yeah. Yep. I took the whole thing apart
And
because it was a put together
you know how
gun.
you know how to just disassemble a gun?
Because it came with the whole. It was one that you put together. It wasn't like a whole. You know, I don't know how to explain.
No,
There's
we're
websites
familiar
for
with
it.
it. Yeah.
And they're like the ones you're not supposed to order from. And she got two of them. She ordered one and I got ribbon. She ordered another
When did she have the guns? Roughly.
3 months before.
3 months prior to that.
That was the
Both of
first
them?
thing she looked at.
Because you said that one time you got there
Yep.
and she was kind of sleeping or passed out with the gun on her.
No.
No.
She actually, one time, I was in her room doing the Cattler and came out and she had the gun up to her head. Up to her head.
And you took it away from her.
I took it away from her.
And what did you do with it?
I left it by her, but I took it away. It was maybe like 5 feet away. I moved it. I was just in shock. I couldn't believe she actually would do it when I was there. That was her biggest thing that she said to me from day one is, yes, she didn't want to be here, but she didn't want me to be around for it. That's what she always told me. And the fact
Detective, in this first slide of Exhibit 204, are we hearing more about that gun discussion?
Yes, we are.
At this point in time, what did Ms. Krzyzewski tell you she ultimately did with the gun?
Threw it away, disposed of, or took it apart, disassembled it, and then threw it away
Where?
in the garbage.
Does that story change over time?
Yes, it does.
Okay, going to the next slide, please.
Well, I took it like 5 feet away from her. I couldn't take.
Yeah, you
know,
can.
But I was in
Did you
shock.
call the police and say,
No, I
hey,
didn't.
listen, we got a problem?
No, I didn't. Because that's not. Ultimately, I knew what her goal was, and she was going to achieve it one way or the other.
But now it's kind of on your conscience.
You think?
Yeah, I do think.
I know.
And
Even
everything,
with the Visine. Told you she drank the one bottle in the front.
why'd you keep buying it for?
Because that's
Bottles
what,
and bottles and bottles at a
that's
time.
what she wanted.
You buy her one bottle, My brother's a junkie. I don't give him $500 at a time.
She also,
I give him
when
$20
she
for
first started
gas.
taking it, her thing was that she liked the way she felt. It would knock her in and out. She'd wake up. She said she lost, like, feeling of her body. It made her feel good. I'm not saying this is what I wanted, but I know somebody who was so sick that I get what she wanted.
Give
But
her a little bit of weed or
also
something,
did-
but you don't give her a Visine. I mean, come on. It's weird.
I get
It
it.
doesn't make sense to a normal person.
I get what you're saying, but at her thinking, I didn't want to deny her everything, but I didn't want her to take the easiest way out. And honestly, she was doing it for so long that I didn't think she was going to die from it. I really didn't. I thought, okay, she's getting some sleep from it, that's it. She was doing it for 2 months at least.
Doing what?
The Visine.
I thought you said you only saw her with the bottle one.
No. I bought it for her. I only saw her physically drink the bottle, from the bottle one time. After that, I'd come there and to the garbage and so forth. She got to the point where she said, the first time she took it, she goes, this is kind of boring. I go, what do you mean it's boring? It just doesn't taste like anything. That's when she started mixing it. I swear to God, on everything. She had said there's no
You saw her
taste to
literally
it.
just drink an entire bottle.
One bottle, yes I did.
And how long did you stay with her then?
That day I was with her for hours.
And what happened with her?
She just kept falling in and out of sleep. That was it. And then the next couple times that she took it, I didn't know she was taking it until afterwards. She'd have a few drinks, and all of a sudden she'd get weary and lazy. And one time she wasn't breathing good. I said, do you want me to call an ambulance? And she goes, no, I took the Visine. And I didn't know because she didn't take it by itself. And I'm dead serious. She didn't take it by itself.
How long ago was this before she died?
Probably about a month. I honestly thought when she was in the hospital they would have figured it out and helped her. That's my given truth. That's what I was hoping
Did you
for.
tell him she takes Visine?
No.
Do you think you should have? Hindsight's 20/20 now.
Yeah, I probably should have. I mean, I told them a lot of things to look
She's your
for.
friend. You love her. You want what's best for her.
Yeah, I do.
My mother is in assisted living. I love her. I want what's best for her. But
Yeah.
I don't give her chocolate
I
because
get
she's
it.
diabetic.
Yeah.
Do you think she'd want that? Do you think she wants a piece of cake? Yeah. See, you don't give her every once in a while. You give her a little piece, but you don't buy 4 pieces of cake. I don't buy your entire cake or a box of Ho-Hos
Yeah.
because I know that's what she wants, and she gets mad at me. But she can't talk, but she's yelling at me, and but I love her, and I don't want her to die that way.
I get that.
But you keep
I
dividing.
also didn't think she would die from it because she didn't that whole time. I thought she would just...
You took how much when you took it?
When I took it, I took half a bottle.
How'd you feel?
Like crap. Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was down the whole day.
Well, talk about that day again.
Yeah.
So what happened that night? What went up? What was the?
We
what
just
was the
went
deal with
out,
that?
and she was on my mind. The whole thing was just bothering me. I, to this day, before we even go into that, I, to this day, always wondered, was it the Visine that did it? I knew the night before she drank it. I knew she had water the next day. But I always wondered, and I wondered if I didn't leave for those few hours, had I been able to call 911? What happened? I don't know exactly what happened. Did her heart stop? Did she stop breathing? I don't know. So that's what I always wonder. Now, that night, I was just, having a few drinks, I was thinking of her. It was bothering me because I used to sit and drink with her and hang out with her, and she was on my mind heavily at the time. I was frustrated. I don't know, just I had a bad night overall, and she was on my mind. And I came home and I thought, I'm just really curious what her thought was on this. What would make you want to do this? Just what do you feel like? I wanted to know. I wasn't trying to kill myself. I just wanted to know what it was. That was plain and simple what I did. I just wanted to know.
And you're home alone,
No, Scott was home, but he was probably asleep.
and you feel sick enough that you want to go to the hospital.
No, I just left the house. I told him I went. I just left the house because I didn't want him.
So you lied to him again.
Yep. I knew what I was sick from, so I wasn't going to go to the hospital and say, I took some Visine for the fun of it.
And then you
know what I
came
mean?
home and
It
told him
wasn't
that
fun.
someone roofied you at the bar.
Yeah. Because I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't want to tell him, I thought I'd try this.
Here's
I'm
a
honest.
key to positive relationships that last 20-some years of
Be
marriage.
honest.
Honesty
I get
and
it.
integrity.
I get it.
And it seems like you have a hard time telling the truth. And you have rationalizations and excuses of why you don't do things. You know the right thing to do. You do.
Yeah.
I can tell that kind of person you are. But you have a series of events here that are predicated in lies and half-truths and withholding truths and all those kind of things. Is that who you are?
No, it's not. It's not who I want to be. For him, I obviously lied to him more than anything. I get that.
Do you love him?
I love him to death.
But not enough to tell him the truth.
Well, that's all I want to do now is I want to sit and talk to him, and it's not going to happen for anytime soon.
Does your mother know about the Visine stuff?
No.
Why don't you tell your mother, who's Lynn's real good friend? She's a good enough friend
She
that
knew about
Lynn's
the
given her
gun.
cash with a letter saying, don't tell Jesse I gave this to you.
No. She knew about the gun, and she knew that Lynn was taking her pills every so often too much, that she was trying things. She did know about certain things because when I told her about the gun,
Detective, in this clip that the jury just watched, would it be fair to say that the story about what happened in January of 2019 changed again?
Yes.
What is it at this point now?
That she just took a half a bottle and got sick from it.
In this clip, does Ms. Kraszewski talk about being in the hospital because of that?
No, she does not.
What did she say about that?
She lied about that
To who?
to Scott Craig.
Okay. In this clip that we just watched, does Ms. Kraszewski provide some reason that Lynn Hernan was drinking Visine with vodka?
Just wanted to mix it again
Why?
because it didn't taste like anything. The vodka didn't taste like anything. She wanted to put it in there.
Okay. During this clip, does Ms. Kraszewski talk about how Ms. Hernan said the Visine made her feel?
Kind of like numb, kind of her whole body.
Is that different from a symptom that Ms. Kraszewski told you about in the last interview that would happen when Ms. Hernan would drink Visine?
Yes.
What was that symptom?
That she would, quote, shit all over.
And again, in this clip, what does Ms. Kraszewski say as a result of Ms. Hernan drinking Visine?
That it would make her numb and drowsy.
Going to slide 4.
my mom knows very well that Lynn did not want to be here anymore. She knows that. She'll tell anybody that because she does honestly know that. She knows what Lynn was like for 20 plus years and what she was like at the end.
If you're struggling so much, why aren't you telling anyone what's going on? If you're struggling internally with Lynn trying to kill herself, taking this Visine, which you know is wrong, not normal.
Yeah.
Especially if she tries to drink a whole bottle in front of you, right? The gun thing, everything. But you don't seem to tell anyone what's going on.
No, do you know what I did? I drank. I drank it away. That's what I did.
You gotta. It seems odd that you don't ask your mother or Scott for some assistance. Not even assistance going there with you, but just Scott, what should I do?
Mom did know some of it.
Scott, what should I do?
And my mom got to the point where she didn't want to be around it.
What do you think Scott would have said if you would have said, "Hey, Lynn's drinking Visine, what should I do?"
He would have said, probably call the cops immediately.
Because Scott does the right thing.
Yeah.
And if you know that, that's the reason you didn't tell him. Because you knew it was wrong.
I knew it was wrong, but at the same sense, there's only so much you can do. And I just feel like I don't know. I didn't know what to do anymore.
You said earlier.
I love her to death, and I didn't want to watch her anymore being miserable, but I didn't want to let go of her at the same time. I went both ways.
Were you with her the night before the death?
Yeah.
Because you said earlier, about 6 minutes ago, that you knew she drank a bottle the night before.
Yeah. She drank, not a bottle, but she put it in her vodka. I did know that. I said that yesterday.
And then you go there the next day, and she's fine.
Yeah. I mean, she was in and out, sleeping, awake.
But she said, yeah, I'll see you later, darling, or something.
When I left, she said, I'll see you later. She knew I was coming back.
And she didn't seem in distress?
No.
Medically?
Not any more than she ever did. No.
She's not having diarrhea, or she's not throwing up? Or
No.
She's not...
No.
thinks you killed her for the money.
I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't.
It tends to look like that on
I know.
paper. And
I get it.
when we meet with the DA, he goes,
I'm telling you, honest to God, when I talked to you guys last night, I felt so much better.
I could tell.
Because I actually honestly told you guys, and I finally just gave up. And you weren't even in the room. I broke down with him.
Well, I watched the
because I couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm telling you, I did not give it to her to kill her. I did not put it in.
Why did you give it to her then?
I gave it to her because she seemed to think it was a good idea. She didn't think she was going to die from it, though. I don't think either, because she was doing it for too long. It wasn't making her, in that sense. I didn't think she was
Did you give it to her that morning?
I swear to God, I didn't. I gave her water. That's all I gave her. And I said, she always put it in. Swear to God, the 3 days that I was there before when I threw out a bunch of Izine, that's when she put it in, water and
When was the last
vodka.
time you emptied the trash? 3 days prior?
Yeah.
And if she's disposing of, where would she throw her stuff out? Would she throw it out in the bathroom? You said there were bottles in the bathroom, right?
Yeah. No, she had a garbage can next to her and the one in the kitchen. And she would get up and walk to the kitchen. She was up in the kitchen up till 2 days before. That she physically was on her own in the kitchen. Because she would not dump the Visine in the stuff while I was there, ever. Ever.
But you knew she did it the day before.
No, I knew she did it because I found all the Visines. That was her thing. She mixed them. I knew
the night
she mixed
before.
them. No.
You said the night before you knew she put it in.
No,
Right?
not the night before, though. She didn't put it in. She put it in when I threw out all the Visine bottles. When I threw out her garbage.
So it was 3 days prior?
Yes. Yep. And I said, where'd all the Visines go? And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm like, what do you mean don't worry about it? What'd you put them in? Because that's what she was doing for months. The only time she drank it straight from the bottle was the first time. The only time. And ever since then, she put it in her water or her vodka. She said the water didn't taste like anything, and the vodka, she liked it because she got like a little more of a buzz off of it.
Mm-hmm. And that morning, the night before, did she have vodka?
The night before she did.
How much did she have, you know?
It was a cup probably like this big. And she had
So
one
when
in
you
a
say cup,
can.
I mean, you're a bar girl.
No, she has the smaller, she used the smaller cups for her vodka.
How many ounces do you think, maybe? 4 ounces?
It's probably like a couple about this size up to here.
So
maybe
10 ounces?
Sure.
And
she had 1.5 of those.
So she had 20 ounces of vodka?
Yep.
And when was the last time you saw her?
When I left that day.
What time? This is the night before we're talking, right?
I don't know for sure. I really
Was it at 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
I don't want to say because I don't want to be wrong with my time.
I'm asking approximately, do you think? Dinner time?
I'm going to guess maybe 5 or 6.
So around dinner time?
Yeah.
The night before?
It might have been early. I mean, we were watching TV. Well, because you guys can look at my phone and know the times. I don't want to lie about times when I honestly don't remember.
I got you.
I know I was there. We watched on TV.
What did you do the night before her death, remember?
That was what we did.
What did you leave at 5 or 6? You and Scott went out, you watched a movie, you went to the kids' softball game, something like that.
I don't.
Went to Chuck E.
I
Cheese, I don't know.
Probably just at home. It was a Monday night, and Monday nights the bar is closed that we go to. So we were probably just home.
Was it a Monday night? I don't even know.
She died on Tuesday.
Okay.
I remember that plain as dead.
But you weren't there like at 10 o'clock news time?
No.
You'd be home before?
Yeah. I mean, I've been there late like that.
But the day before, you would remember if you were there at 10 o'clock, because you would have told the deputies, last time I saw her was at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Last night, because they usually ask you what the last 24 hours of when you saw her. And she drank 2 10 ounces.
1.5.
1.5, so 15 ounces of vodka then?
Yep. And when I left, I dumped it out, and she said, give me water. And usually I always brought her 2 waters that she put by her.
Okay. And the waters were sealed when you gave it to her?
As far as I mean...
You wouldn't know. Because when you pick up a bottle of water, you can tell it's been open.
Well, no. But the thing is that she knew I kept throwing them out on her. Because I was getting frustrated. Because every time I saw... Because I didn't even drink the bottles of water the last month. I didn't trust it. Because I knew what she was doing. And sometimes she'd say, oh, did you get that from the right or the left? Or, and I'm like... So I didn't trust it.
Okay.
I usually went out there with my own sample.
You said you 3 days before, you threw out the trash or a bunch of Visine in it.
Yep. I threw out all her water bottles. There was
from
a
that
ton of
time, did you purchase any more Visine for her from that time to the time you found her dead?
I don't think so. don't think so.
When I say Visine, what kind of Visine were you buying? Do you know, does she have a specific brand
She
liked?
did. She liked a certain kind for her eyes, that she actually put in her eyes.
Okay. What kind did she like to drink?
She really didn't have a preference.
So what kind would you buy? 'Cause
Whatever.
You just usually buy the same one. That's kind of what people do historically. Yeah. You go to the
I
same gas
honestly
station,
just
you order
bought
the
whatever
same.
was cheap, to be honest.
Okay.
I didn't sit there and pick out, but her eyes, she liked it very expensive, and it was a good one for your eyes. Because I actually used it a few times when I had itchy
Because
eyes.
Visine comes in that like weird bottle. It's kind of a weird
Yeah.
shape. Is that what you were buying, do you think? Or are you buying off-brands?
Honestly, they were just whatever.
But what kind did she want? What was the kind she really liked for her eyes?
For the eyes, it was tear eyes, tree size, something T eyes. It was like
And what did the bottle look like?
$12.99, white bottle with blue on it, and I think it was like T eyes or tree size or something.
Would she drink that one ever?
I don't know for sure on that. I don't think so. She really liked it for her eyes, but I don't know for sure.
Is she telling you what kind to buy for
No.
her drinking?
No. When I first did it, the first time I went, I bought all the regular. She said, "Can you get me some more eye drops for my eyes?" That was the first time I ever bought eye drops, or bought her multiple, more. And because she, on a regular basis, went through probably 6 boxes of the regular ones for her eyes. So the first time I went, they were all regular eye drops for her eyes. And that's the one where she undid it and literally squeezed it into her mouth. And that was the first one.
Did you ever see her use the $13 bottle stuff for her drinks?
Oh, no, I've never, except the first time she drank it, I've never seen her do it since.
But you're the one providing
Yeah.
it. So you know what you're buying.
Yeah.
So you're buying the $13 bottles,
Mhm.
and she's using that for her eyes, and then you're buying other kinds
Yeah.
that you think she's ingesting.
Yeah. She
Is
honestly,
she
I
going
never
through a lot of
watched
the
her
$13 bottles, or is she going more through the little bottles?
more through the other ones. But I never, except for watching her drink it the one time, I never ever watched her do anything with it. One time she took it and put drops of it in her her glass of vodka, and that was the only 2 times that I saw her physically do anything. I would come back and the bottles would be empty.
But you know she's using it.
Yeah.
Because she's going through bottles and bottles. So getting back to my original question,
Yeah.
3 days before you throw it in the trash,
Yeah.
a lot of bottles in the trash. How many bottles did you buy that last week, do you think?
Maybe 8 to 12.
Do you remember where you bought them?
Offhand, no. Because I just bought them wherever
And you
I
bought
was
the
for
cheap
something.
ones or the expensive ones?
Both. Because when she died, there was still 1 or 2 boxes in her bathroom of the good eye ones. And I think one was open. And I thought it was next to her, but maybe it was on the kitchen sink, or maybe it was, I don't know. The one she actually used for her eyes.
And you remember it being there when you found her dead?
No, I don't.
Okay, you don't. I'm
Yeah.
just clarifying.
I don't remember where, because I think he said that we didn't see it. I don't know where it was around her, or if it was in the, sometimes some of the stuff was on the kitchen counter. I don't remember. Honestly, I don't. I'm being
I get you. And when I ask questions, it's because when you say something,
Yeah.
it comes out a certain way because your brain, it's your life. So I want to make sure that we're clear that on the same page. So I'm not saying you're lying. I just want to make sure that you and I are 100% on the
Yeah.
same page.
Does it say, is that my report?
Yes.
Does it say what stores I went to on there? I was going to ask you.
No.
Okay.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
So during their follow-up question with you that night,
Yeah.
they asked you, do you think Lynn was suicidal or wanted to die?
Mhm.
You said yes and no. I know she loves her cats and always worried about them, but she was tired of being sick and tired of not being able to get around as she used to. At what point do you tell the deputies that she was suicidal? That not too long before this, she held a gun to her head. She bought a gun off my phone and put it together. I mean, she's dead, so don't worry.
Detective, throughout the interview clips that the jury has watched thus far, were there portions of those where Ms. Kraszewski said that she never saw Ms. Hernan drink eye drops?
Yes.
In this clip that we just watched, what does Ms. Kraszewski say about that?
Changed it from one time to seeing at least 2 occasions her putting eye drops in something or drinking eye drops. But confirming that she knows that Ms. Hernan's drinking more than she's allegedly seen.
I wrote down the words extra buzz during that last clip. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What was that about?
Again, she said that's why she was putting it in her vodka.
Who said who was doing that?
Ms. Krzyzewski said Ms. Hernan was putting that in her vodka
Why?
to give it an extra buzz.
Is that a different symptom than the quote shitting all over?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in court when Doctors Bedritsky and Kosinko testified in this case?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember those doctors being asked about whether drinking Visine gives you some sort of a high or buzz?
Object. If it goes beyond just yes or no.
Sustained, the jury can refer back to their recollection of that testimony. We don't need it repeated here.
Understood. Why don't we go to the next clip? I believe we're on slide 5.
For a reason, because I needed somebody else to know about it.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't talked to my mom since I've been here. You guys can ask her about the gun. She knows, because she was pissed. She was so pissed.
Okay. You know, and what I keep coming back to, Jesse, is when we talked yesterday, something keeps playing back that you said to me, and I think that this is where you're kind of concerned about possibly getting yourself in trouble. You said, I didn't put any Visine in her stuff that day. You several times yesterday was that day. So I want to know, truthfully, honestly, in the past, had you ever put any in there? Knowing she wants it.
Once I put in 2 drops for her.
Okay.
Once.
In what?
In her vodka.
Okay. And once was how long before that?
That was a month and probably 4 weeks. 3-4 weeks before. That was the only time I ever did it.
Did you ever look up anything online? Like, the
I did
effects of
afterward.
Visine?
Yeah, I did afterward because she kept wondering why she wasn't dying from it, and I didn't find anything that said you died from it. I found that you got sick from it.
So you,
But she looked it up first. Seriously, she did look it up first because I didn't know anything about it. Well, we were together in the same area, but she used my phone all the time. She was because before she looked up the Visine, she was determined to get the suicide pill. Determined. First the gun, and the second thing was the suicide pill. And the thing is, it's not in this country. And I don't know, she looked at umpteen different things. She emailed asking questions, trying to figure out how to get it, where to get it. She was like determined on to get that because supposedly that's like a one and done and no issues. Because nothing was working the way she thought. When she overdosed on pills, like the 2 times, well, I shouldn't say overdosed, took too many. It didn't work. She just got sick all over, and I had to clean it up.
so,
But other than that, I've never done it. And the only reason I did it is because the Visine was in the bathroom. And she asked me to make her a drink. And I literally did it in front of her. And I only did 2 drops. And she took the bottle from me because I wouldn't put any more in it.
okay, so
So I'll be honest. I did 2 drops once my whole time.
okay, and that's what I want to start, and that's what I want to start out with. Jesse, we really need to start
I
with a
know.
clean slate here because it's been piecemeal
Yep.
of you worrying about this and you worrying about that. Yesterday it was no, I never,
Yeah.
I never. Now I did it once. Remember, if it,
My biggest
how
thing
this
is,
looks if you're not being honest with us.
I feel like, and that's, I'm telling you, I'm just putting it out there. I feel like no matter what I say or do, and it's hard for me, is because that day, I know for a fact that was the only time I ever gave her drops. She was doing the shit and put it in shit behind my back because she knew that I didn't like it. She knew it. And when I would come there, they would be all emptied out. And I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't know if she took them all in one, I had no clue. And that was the hardest part for me is I'm like, do I have to sit here all day? Do I have to worry about you all day? Or did you put them in something? Because I knew she did both. So I never knew what to think. And I swear I wouldn't have thought anything different. I didn't think she'd ever die from it.
But I thought you said that she thought she was.
She thought she was.
Because of why?
Because she read about it.
Okay.
I didn't read anything
So,
about that.
but weren't you concerned that she said she read something and you thought she was trying to
Well, she
kill
thought
herself?
this was a way to try. She didn't know for sure, but it was one of the things she found, just coming across different things. She was looking into everything possible. Everything. I mean, stuff I've never even heard of. I never heard of this before. I'm gonna be honest.
Did she have a computer at the house?
No,
Was there a computer
that's
or
why
a
she
laptop?
always used my phone.
What kind of
Always.
cell phone did she have?
It's a throwaway you get from the state,
Oh, okay.
so it doesn't have internet.
Okay.
No, she had no internet access.
Did she have Wi-Fi at the house?
No.
No.
I have it where you can,
Your data plan?
yeah, whatever.
Okay, so you print out your data? Or,
And it should show every time that she looked at it was while we were at her house. I looked at it months later because I was curious. I mean, when I knew she died that day, I was curious. I always wondered, was it the Visine? I think that's probably why I called a million times. Because I was so curious, because I wanted to know, was it really the Visine that did it? And I wanted to know, had I been there in that time frame, what could have been done different? That's my biggest thing. Because could I have helped her? Could I have stopped it?
well, I mean, you knew what she was trying to do. You could have stopped her then. I mean, let me ask, was there a part of you that, and maybe Chris is right, and maybe you just thought she was sick and you were going to let her do her thing?
I mean, she was sick for so long that I honestly think, had I left that gun there, had I left it, I think she would have used it. The way she pulled it out, I mean, I was terrified. I've never seen somebody stick a gun to their head, I'm telling you that right now. That image alone sticks in my head for a long time, too. And it's because that's just not normal. I get it, she was so sick. And I get that she just hit a point where she didn't want to do it anymore. I get that. But I think part of me always thought, she's not going to go through with it. It's not going to actually happen. You know, I went both ways with it. I really did. I didn't think, because she was drinking for so long, I didn't think that she would actually die from it. I really didn't. I thought, well, she tried the pills, that's not working. She tried this, that's not working. You know, so my thought is that morning I go, what was she thinking? When she crushed those pills, what was she thinking? Did she already know what she was drinking and trying to do two things at once? And then I thought the same thing. Well, didn't seem like much was off that plate. You know, the plate looked pretty full to me. I know that.
Yeah.
I admit that. You know, I just don't know. I don't know. I really don't. And I know you guys think the money thing, or you do, or whatever. I don't care who thinks it. I didn't steal her money. If you knew Lynn and you knew how she was, she called me, she called my mom numerous times. Let's go on a vacation. Let's just pack up and go. I'm like, where are we going? I just want to spend some money. Lynn was that type of person. And it was not rational, but she was like me. Back in the day, she didn't have money. So when she did, she wanted to do stuff. When they took down her one credit card, they took like, I don't know, maybe like 10,000. I don't know, she called me screaming. She called my mom about it too. They took away like 10,000 or 1,200 or something. I don't remember. A large amount. And she was, I'm going out. And that's when she went out and bought all her jewelry. She maxed out 2 of her credit cards. And I'm like, who does that? That's not normal. You know? But that was her type of, she just didn't care. I mean, she was on a point where everything changed about her. You know, the last year, she wasn't the person I met 20 years before. She was a fun, let's go out, let's do this. She was at the point where she was at fuck everything. She didn't want to see anybody. She didn't want to talk to anybody. She didn't care. She just didn't care. So everything changed about her.
You know, and I guess the part that, you know, kind of confuses me a little bit is, and I know, yes, I told you before, I have my suspicions on what everything, but understand how we look at it when you haven't been honest.
I get it.
When Scott's telling us you're lying, your mom is telling us you're lying. Your mom's saying you shouldn't have had this, or that. And now, you know, we've talked to you, and every day is a little bit more. How are we supposed to look at it?
It's going to look bad. I know that. I understand that.
So that's why I'm telling you, this is it. It is now time.
I understand that. I understand everything's looking bad.
How
And
about-
you know what? I'll be honest with this. You know, I told you to look at the memos lines?
Mm-hmm.
Because Lynn always put something on the memo. Lynn was always...
Detective, we've just ended slide 5. Thus far in everything that the jury has watched, has Ms. Kraszewski been asked if she gave Lynn Hernan any eye drops on October 3rd, 2018?
Yes.
And what has Ms. Kraszewski said thus far?
No, she has not.
Does that change as time goes on?
To the exact extent, yes, she acknowledged, or there's later on, there's a story, her story changes, yes.
Okay. Judge, there's about 40 minutes left of this interview, which I'm happy to pick up with on Monday if you'd like.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, it's been a long day, a lot of videos, so knowing that there's 40 minutes left, it's already 4:05. There still will, I'm sure, be some questioning. I think we'll break for the day. I'll read the instruction to the jurors. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not begin your deliberations and discussion of the case until all the evidence is presented and I have instructed you on the law. Do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else until your final deliberations in the jury room. This order is not limited to face-to-face conversations. It also extends to all forms of electronic communications. Do not use any electronic devices such as a mobile phone or computer, text or instant messaging, or social networking sites to send or receive any information about this case or your experience as a juror. If you come in contact with the parties, lawyers, or witnesses, do not speak with them. For their part, the parties, lawyers, and witnesses will not contact or speak with the jurors. Do not listen to any conversations about this case. Do not research any information that you personally think might be helpful to you in understanding the issues presented. Do not investigate this case on your own or visit the scene, either in person or by any electronic means. Do not read any newspaper reports or listen to any news reports on radio, television, over the internet, or any other electronic application or tool about this trial. Do not consult dictionaries, computers, electronic applications, social media, the internet, or other reference materials for additional information. Do not seek information regarding the public records of any party or witness in this case. Any information you obtain outside the courtroom could be misleading, inaccurate, or incomplete. Relying on this information is unfair because the parties would not have an opportunity to refute, explain, or correct it. Do not communicate with anyone about this trial or your experience as a juror while you are serving on this jury. Do not use a computer, cell phone, or other electronic device, including personal wearable electronics, applications, or tools with communication capabilities to share any information about this case. For example, do not communicate by telephone, blog post, email, text message, instant message, social media post, or in any other way on or off the computer. Do not permit anyone to communicate with you about this matter either in person, electronically, or by any other means. If anyone does so despite your telling them not to, you should report that to me. I appreciate that it is tempting when you go home in the evening and over the weekend to discuss this case with another member of your household, but you may not do so. This case must be decided by you, the jurors, based on the evidence presented in the courtroom. People not serving on this jury have not heard the evidence, and it is improper for them to influence your deliberations and decision in this case. After this trial is completed, you are free to communicate with anyone in any manner. These rules are intended to assure that jurors remain impartial throughout the trial. If any juror has reason to believe that another juror has violated these rules, you should report that to me. If jurors do not comply with these rules, it could result in a new trial involving additional time and significant expense to the parties and the taxpayers. You are to decide the case solely on the evidence offered and received at trial. Thank you. Have a great weekend. All rise for the jury. We'll see you Monday morning at 8:30. All right, thank you. You may step down. Anything I need to, did my door close? Not yet. You can be seated. Anything I need to address from the state today?
Yes, Judge, thank you. The state we were taking testimony from Detective Hoppy at 3:47, received an email from Ms. Risto out of Attorney Kukler's office with 2 new witnesses and a investigator's reports on those 2 witnesses. These 2 witnesses were not named on any of the...
I'm not going to take that up right now. I know it came in. I briefly looked at it. We'll take it up Monday morning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Anything from the defense?
No, thank you.
All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. I think what I'm going to have to do is Teresa email you all her most recent exhibit list. Once it's completed, please check.